This is a short history of the Egyptian Book of the Dead. Please sit back and relax. I hope you enjoy this short story. As always, love each other and most importantly, love yourself. The Egyptian Book of the Dead, a crucial artifact in the history of ancient Egyptian culture, reflects the civilization's profound spiritual beliefs and elaborate funerary practices. Its inception and evolution span thousands of years, revealing the ancient Egyptians' perspectives on death, the afterlife, and the journey of the soul. This summary delves into the origins, development, contents, and significance of the Book of the Dead. The origins of the Egyptian Book of the Dead can be traced back to the pyramid texts, which emerged during the Old Kingdom, circa 2686-2181 BC. These texts, inscribed on the walls of royal pyramids, contain spells and incantations intended to protect the pharaohs in the afterlife. Over time, these texts evolved into the coffin texts during the Middle Kingdom, circa 1650 BC, expanding the accessibility of funerary spells beyond royalty to include nobles and other high-ranking individuals. The coffin texts were written on coffins and tomb walls, further democratizing the knowledge required for the afterlife journey. The Book of the Dead, known to the ancient Egyptians as the Book of Coming Forth by Day, emerged during the New Kingdom, circa 1550-170 BC. It represented a synthesis and expansion of the earlier pyramid and coffin texts, incorporating a broader array of spells and illustrations. These texts were typically written on papyrus scrolls and placed in the tombs of the deceased, serving as a comprehensive guide for navigating the challenges of the afterlife. The Book of the Dead is not a single standardized text, but rather a collection of spells, prayers, and incantations compiled over centuries. The number of spells in a given Book of the Dead could vary, with some versions containing as few as 150 spells and others having over 200. The content and order of the spells were tailored to the individual's needs and the preferences of the scribe or the deceased. The text is divided into 4 main sections, each addressing different aspects of the afterlife journey. These spells were designed to protect the deceased from various dangers and malevolent forces encountered on the journey to the afterlife. They included instructions for navigating the underworld, crossing perilous waters, and avoiding traps and hostile entities. This section contains spells to empower the deceased, granting them the ability to assume different forms, communicate with gods, and command supernatural forces. These spells emphasize the importance of knowledge and mastery over the spiritual realm. The most critical part of the Book of the Dead was the section dealing with the judgment of the deceased. Central to this process was the weighing of the heart ceremony, where the heart of the deceased was weighed against the feather of Maat, the goddess of truth and justice. Spells in this section aim to ensure a favorable judgment and the attainment of eternal life. The final section contains spells for ensuring a prosperous and harmonious existence in the afterlife. These included spells for securing sustenance, maintaining physical integrity, and enjoying the companionship of loved ones and deities. The Book of the Dead is rich in symbolism and iconography, reflecting the Egyptians' complex religious beliefs and cosmology. Key symbols include: representing life and immortality, the Ankh is frequently depicted in the hands of gods and pharaohs. Symbolizing rebirth and transformation, the scarab beetle is often associated with the sun god Ra and the concept of resurrection. Representing protection, health, and restoration, the Eye of Horus is a powerful symbol used to ward off evil. Symbolizing truth and justice, the feather is central to the judgment scene in the afterlife. Illustrations in the Book of the Dead are highly detailed and vibrant, depicting scenes from the journey to the afterlife, interactions with gods and goddesses, and the judgment process. These images serve not only as visual aids, but also as magical tools believed to activate the spells they accompanied. The Book of the Dead played a crucial role in ancient Egyptian religion and culture. It encapsulated the Egyptians' beliefs about death, the afterlife, and the soul's journey. Key concepts reflected in the text include: the Egyptians believed in an afterlife where the deceased could enjoy a renewed existence, provided they successfully navigated the challenges of the underworld and received a favorable judgment. The principle of Maat, representing truth, balance, and order, was central to Egyptian cosmology. Upholding Maat in life and death was essential for achieving harmony in the afterlife. The god of the afterlife and resurrection, Osiris, was a key figure in the Book of the Dead. His myth, which involved death, dismemberment, and resurrection, symbolized the eternal cycle of life, death, and rebirth. The Egyptians believed in the existence of multiple aspects of the soul, including the Ka, life force, and Ba, personality. Ensuring the survival and reunification of these aspects was a primary concern in funerary practices. The Book of the Dead evolved over time, reflecting changes in religious beliefs, artistic styles, and funerary practices. Variations in the text and illustrations can be attributed to regional differences, individual preferences, and the evolving role of different deities in the Egyptian pantheon. During the late period, circa 664-332 BCE, the text became more standardized, with the development of a canonical version known as the Saite recension. This version, named after the 26th dynasty capital Sais, represented a more uniform and widely recognized compilation of spells and illustrations. The Greco-Roman period, 332 BC, 395 C, saw further adaptations and reinterpretations of the Book of the Dead, as Egyptian religious traditions interacted with Greek and Roman beliefs. Despite these changes, the core principles and themes of the text remained consistent, reflecting the enduring significance of the Book of the Dead in Egyptian culture. The study of the Egyptian Book of the Dead has been significantly advanced by archaeological discoveries and modern scholarship. Key milestones include the French expedition to Egypt led by Napoleon Bonaparte resulted in the discovery of numerous artifacts and the publication of the Description de l'Égypte, which brought Egyptian antiquities to the attention of European scholars. The discovery of the Rosetta Stone, which contained inscriptions in Greek, Demotic, and hieroglyphics, enabled the decipherment of Egyptian hieroglyphs by Jean-François Champollion. This breakthrough opened up the study of ancient Egyptian texts, including the Book of the Dead. The excavation of tombs in the Valley of the Kings, such as the discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb by Howard Carter in 1922, provided valuable insights into Egyptian funerary practices and the role of the Book of the Dead. Modern scholars continue to analyze and interpret the Book of the Dead, uncovering new details about its composition, usage, and cultural significance. Advances in technology, such as digital imaging and 3D modeling, have facilitated the preservation and study of fragile papyri, ensuring that the knowledge contained in the Book of the Dead remains accessible to future generations. The Egyptian Book of the Dead is a testament to the ancient Egyptians' profound spirituality and their intricate understanding of life, death, and the afterlife. Its inception, development, and enduring legacy reflect the civilization's complex religious beliefs and the importance they placed on ensuring a successful journey to the afterlife. As a cornerstone of Egyptian funerary literature, the Book of the Dead offers a window into the ancient world, providing valuable insights into the beliefs, practices, and values of one of history's most fascinating civilizations. The Egyptian Book of the Dead, an essential funerary text, reflects the ancient Egyptians' beliefs about the afterlife, the journey of the soul, and the gods who presided over these realms. Among the numerous deities featured in these texts, Osiris stands out as the most influential god. His role as the god of the afterlife, resurrection, and judge of the dead permeates the entire corpus, highlighting his profound significance in Egyptian spirituality and religious practices. This essay explores Osiris's origins, mythology, and influence in the Book of the Dead, emphasizing his central role in ancient Egyptian religion. Osiris's origins are deeply rooted in Egyptian mythology, with his earliest depictions appearing in the pyramid texts of the Old Kingdom, circa 2680-621-81 BC. Initially associated with fertility and agriculture, Osiris evolved into the god of the dead and the afterlife. His mythology, as recounted in various ancient texts, tells the story of his death, dismemberment, and resurrection, which became a cornerstone of Egyptian religious thought. The myth of Osiris is one of the most detailed and influential in Egyptian mythology. It centers around Osiris, his wife Isis, his brother Set, and his son Horus. According to the myth, Osiris, the benevolent and just ruler of Egypt, taught his people agriculture, law, and religion. His reign was marked by peace and prosperity. Osiris's brother Set, envious of his success, conspired to kill him. Set tricked Osiris into lying in a coffin, which he then sealed and threw into the Nile River. Isis, the devoted wife of Osiris, embarked on a quest to find her husband's body. After locating it, she attempted to revive him with her magical powers. Set discovered Isis's efforts and dismembered Osiris's body, scattering the pieces across Egypt. Undeterred, Isis, with the help of her sister Nephthys, gathered the pieces and reassembled Osiris. Using her magic and aided by Anubis, the god of embalming, Isis resurrected Osiris. Osiris, unable to return to the realm of the living, became the ruler of the underworld Duat and the judge of the dead. His resurrection symbolized the promise of eternal life for the deceased. Osiris and Isis's son Horus avenged his father's death by defeating Set, restoring order and justice. This myth not only explains Osiris's role in the afterlife, but also reinforces key Egyptian values such as justice, resurrection, and the eternal struggle between order, Ma'at, and chaos, Isfet. Osiris's prominence in the Book of the Dead is evident through numerous spells, prayers, and illustrations that depict him as the ultimate judge and ruler of the afterlife. He is often shown as a mummified king, holding the crook and flail, symbols of kingship, and wearing the Atef crown, a distinctive headdress with ostrich feathers. One of the most iconic scenes in the Book of the Dead is the weighing of the heart ceremony, where the deceased's heart is weighed against the feather of Ma'at, the goddess of truth and justice. Osiris presides over this judgment, seated on his throne, accompanied by 42 divine judges and other deities such as Anubis and Thoth. If the heart balances with the feather, the deceased is deemed righteous and granted access to the afterlife. If not, the heart is devoured by Ammit, a fearsome creature part lion, hippopotamus, and crocodile. This ceremony underscores Osiris's role as the arbiter of justice and the gatekeeper to eternal life. His presence in this critical aspect of the afterlife journey emphasizes his influence and the Egyptians' reliance on his favor for a successful passage to the afterlife. The Book of the Dead contains numerous spells invoking Osiris, seeking his protection, guidance, and blessings. These spells often emphasize themes of resurrection, transformation, and purification, reflecting Osiris's mythological journey and his role in ensuring the deceased's rebirth in the afterlife. For example, spell 125, one of the most important and elaborate spells, includes detailed invocations to Osiris during the judgment process. Osiris's mythological death and resurrection symbolize the eternal cycle of life, death, and rebirth, a concept central to Egyptian religion. This symbolism extends to the agricultural cycle, with Osiris's death representing the sowing of seeds and his resurrection symbolizing the growth of crops. His association with the Nile's annual flooding, which brought fertility to the land, further reinforced this connection. The worship of Osiris was widespread, with numerous temples and festivals dedicated to him. The annual Feast of Osiris celebrated his resurrection and was marked by public ceremonies, processions, and reenactments of his myth. This festival, held in the month of Khoiak, involved the making of Osiris effigies filled with soil and grain, symbolizing his regenerative powers. The Osirian cult also included elaborate burial practices, reflecting the belief that emulating Osiris's mummification and burial could ensure a successful journey to the afterlife. Tombs and burial goods were often inscribed with spells from the Book of the Dead, invoking Osiris's protection and blessings. Osiris's role as the judge of the dead and upholder of Ma'at, order and justice, had a profound moral and ethical influence on ancient Egyptian society. The concept of living a righteous life in accordance with Ma'at was integral to securing a favorable judgment in the afterlife. The negative confession or declaration of innocence in the Book of the Dead, where the deceased lists the sins they have not committed, reflects this ethical framework. Osiris's iconography is a staple in Egyptian art, often depicted in tombs, temples, and papyri. His mummified form, green skin, symbolizing rebirth, and distinctive crown became iconic symbols associated with the afterlife. Scenes of the weighing of the heart and other judgment processes often feature Osiris prominently, emphasizing his central role. The themes and motifs associated with Osiris influenced not only religious texts like the Book of the Dead, but also broader Egyptian literature and culture. Hymns, prayers, and myths celebrating Osiris's virtues and deeds were common, reinforcing his status as a paragon of kingship, justice, and resurrection. The legacy of Osiris extended beyond Egypt, influencing later cultures and religions. Elements of Osiris's mythology, such as resurrection and judgment after death, can be seen in early Christian and Gnostic texts. illustrating his enduring impact on religious thought, while other gods like Ra, Anubis, and Horus also play significant roles in the Book of the Dead. Osiris's influence is unparalleled. Ara, the sun god, is vital as the source of life and light, and his nightly journey through the underworld complements Osiris's role. Anubis, the god of embalming and guide of souls, works closely with Osiris, but does not possess the same comprehensive authority over the afterlife. Horus, Osiris's son, is crucial as the avenger and restorer of order, yet his role is more about maintaining earthly kingship and combating chaos rather than presiding over the dead. Osiris uniquely combines aspects of kingship, resurrection, and judgment, making him the most influential god in the context of the Book of the Dead. Modern archaeology has uncovered numerous artifacts, tombs, and inscriptions that shed light on Osiris's worship and his role in the Book of the Dead. Discoveries such as the tomb of Tutankhamun, richly adorned with Osirian iconography, and the Temple of Abydos, a major center of Osiris's cult, provide invaluable insights into his enduring significance. Scholars continue to study the texts and artifacts associated with Osiris, uncovering new layers of meaning and historical context. Research into the linguistic, cultural, and theological aspects of Osiris's mythology and worship has deepened our understanding of ancient Egyptian religion and its influence on later cultures. Osiris's legacy endures in modern culture, influencing literature, art, and popular media. His story of death and resurrection resonates with universal themes of renewal, justice, and the triumph of life over death. Contemporary interpretations and adaptations of Osiris's myth reflect its timeless appeal and relevance. Osiris's role in the Egyptian Book of the Dead and his broader influence on ancient Egyptian religion and culture underscore his status as the most influential god in the pantheon. His mythology, embodying the themes of death, resurrection, and eternal life, provided a framework for understanding the afterlife and the moral imperatives of living in accordance with Ma'at. Osiris's presence in the Book of the Dead, through spells, illustrations, and the pivotal weighing of the heart ceremony, highlights his central importance in guiding and judging the deceased. The legacy of Osiris extends beyond the ancient world, influencing later religious traditions and continuing to inspire modern interpretations. As a symbol of justice, resurrection, and the eternal cycle of life, Osiris remains a profound and enduring figure in the history of human spirituality. The Egyptian Book of the Dead, a compendium of spells, prayers, and incantations, serves as a guide for the deceased to navigate the afterlife and achieve eternal life. Among the pantheon of gods involved in this sacred journey, Anubis stands out as the key guardian and guide. This essay delves into the origins, mythology, roles, and cultural significance of Anubis, highlighting his crucial role as the guardian of the Book of the Dead and the protector of the deceased. Anubis, known as Anpu in ancient Egyptian, is one of the oldest deities in the Egyptian pantheon. His origins can be traced back to the early dynastic period, circa 3126-86 BCE. Initially, Anubis was primarily associated with the dead and the process of embalming, reflecting the early Egyptians' preoccupation with death and the afterlife. Anubis is traditionally depicted as a man with the head of a jackal or as a full jackal, both symbols associated with death and cemeteries. Jackals were often seen prowling around graveyards, leading to their association with the god who protected the dead. Anubis's mythology is intertwined with the story of Osiris. According to myth, Anubis was the son of Nephthys and Osiris, though some variations suggest his father was Ra. Nephthys, unable to care for him, abandoned Anubis, who was then adopted by Isis, Osiris's wife. This foster relationship with Isis and Osiris cemented Anubis's role in their myths. Anubis's primary myth involves the embalming and resurrection of Osiris. After Osiris was killed and dismembered by his brother Set, Anubis helped Isis to reassemble and embalm Osiris's body. This act not only resurrected Osiris, but also established the rites of mummification, which Anubis would oversee as the god of embalming. In the context of the Book of the Dead, Anubis's role is multifaceted, encompassing duties as a protector, guide, and judge. His presence is essential for ensuring the deceased's safe passage through the perilous journey of the afterlife. Anubis's primary role is to protect the dead in their tombs. He is often depicted standing guard over the deceased, ensuring that their bodies are safe from desecration and that their journey to the afterlife remains uninterrupted. His association with mummification rituals underscores his protective duties, as he oversees the proper embalming and preservation of the body. Anubis acts as a psychopomp, guiding the souls of the dead through the various stages of the afterlife. The Book of the Dead includes numerous spells invoking Anubis's guidance, particularly in navigating the dangers of the underworld and reaching the Hall of Judgment. Anubis plays a crucial role in the judgment of the dead, particularly in the weighing of the heart ceremony. Here he oversees the scales on which the heart of the deceased is weighed against the feather of Maat, the goddess of truth and justice. Anubis ensures that the scales are balanced and that the judgment is fair. If the heart is found to be lighter than the feather, the deceased is deemed worthy of entering the afterlife. The Book of the Dead contains numerous spells and prayers dedicated to Anubis, seeking his protection, guidance, and favor. These spells often emphasize the importance of a pure heart and a righteous life, reflecting Anubis's role in the judgment process. Key spells include: this spell protects the heart of the deceased from being taken away, invoking Anubis's guardianship. It calls upon Anubis to ensure that the heart of the deceased is not separated from their body, reinforcing the importance of the heart in the afterlife. Anubis's association with protection and guidance is central to his religious significance, as the god who safeguards the dead in their tombs. Anubis embodies the ancient Egyptians' concerns with preserving the integrity of the body and ensuring a safe journey to the afterlife. His role as a guide through the underworld highlights his importance in the spiritual journey of the deceased. By invoking Anubis, the ancient Egyptians sought his assistance in overcoming the obstacles and dangers of the afterlife, reflecting their reliance on his divine guidance. The worship of Anubis was widespread, with numerous temples and shrines dedicated to him. He was particularly revered in regions associated with burial and mummification, such as the necropolis of Saqqara and the city of Sinopolis, city of the dog. The cult of Anubis included elaborate rituals and ceremonies related to death and burial. Priests of Anubis, often depicted wearing masks of the god, played a vital role in the embalming process, performing the rites that ensured the deceased's preservation and protection. Anubis's role in the judgment of the dead had significant moral and ethical implications for ancient Egyptian society. The weighing of the heart ceremony, in which Anubis presided, reinforced the importance of living a righteous life in accordance with Maat. This ethical framework emphasized truth, justice, and moral integrity, with the promise of a favorable judgment and eternal life serving as a powerful incentive for ethical behavior. Anubis' distinctive iconography is a staple of Egyptian art, appearing in tombs, temples, and funerary texts. He is commonly depicted as a black jackal or a man with a jackal's head, symbolizing his association with death and the afterlife. The color black, representing the color of mummified flesh in the fertile Nile soil, reinforces his connection to both death and rebirth. Scenes of Anubis performing the opening of the mouth ceremony, a ritual that ensured the deceased could breathe and speak in the afterlife, are common in funerary art. Additionally, depictions of Anubis overseeing the embalming process and the weighing of the heart ceremony highlight his central role in these crucial aspects of the afterlife journey. Anubis's influence extends beyond religious texts like the Book of the Dead to broader Egyptian literature and culture. Hymns, prayers, and myths celebrating Anubis's virtues and deeds were common, reinforcing his status as a protector and guide. The themes and motifs associated with Anubis also influenced later cultures and religions. The concept of a psychopomp guiding souls to the afterlife can be seen in Greek mythology with Hermes and in various other religious traditions, illustrating Anubis's enduring impact on spiritual thought. While other gods like Osiris, Ra, and Horus also play significant roles in the Book of the Dead, Anubis's influence as the guardian and guide of the deceased is unique. Osiris, the god of the afterlife, presides over the judgment of the dead, but it is Anubis who prepares the body, guides the soul, and ensures a fair judgment. Ra, the sun god, is vital as the source of life and light, and his journey through the underworld complements Anubis's role. Horus, the avenger and restorer of order, is crucial in maintaining earthly kingship and combating chaos. However, Anubis' specific duties related to embalming, protection, and guidance in the afterlife highlight his indispensable role. Modern archaeology has uncovered numerous artifacts, tombs, and inscriptions that shed light on Anubis' worship and his role in the Book of the Dead. Discoveries such as the tomb of Tutankhamun, with its richly adorned burial chamber, provide invaluable insights into Anubis' significance in ancient Egyptian burial practices. Scholars continue to study the texts and artifacts associated with Anubis, uncovering new layers of meaning and historical context. Research into the linguistic, cultural, and theological aspects of Anubis' mythology and worship has deepened our understanding of ancient Egyptian religion and its influence on later cultures. Anubis' legacy endures in modern culture, influencing literature, art, and popular media. His role as a guardian and guide resonates with universal themes of protection, guidance, and the journey to the afterlife. Contemporary interpretations and adaptations of Anubis' myth reflect its timeless appeal and relevance. Anubis' role in the Egyptian Book of the Dead and his broader influence on ancient Egyptian religion and culture underscore his status as a guardian and guide of the deceased. His mythology, embodying the themes of protection, guidance, and judgment, provided a framework for understanding the afterlife and the moral imperatives of living in accordance with Ma'at. Anubis' presence in the Book of the Dead, through spells, illustrations, and the pivotal weighing of the heart ceremony, highlights his central importance in ensuring a safe and successful journey to the afterlife. The legacy of Anubis extends beyond the ancient world, influencing later religious traditions and continuing to inspire modern interpretations. As a symbol of protection, guidance, and the journey to the afterlife, Anubis remains a profound and enduring figure in the history of human spirituality. The Egyptian Book of the Dead is an ancient collection of spells, prayers, and incantations designed to guide the deceased through the afterlife and ensure their resurrection and eternal life. This text, a cornerstone of ancient Egyptian funerary literature, has had a profound impact on religious and cultural beliefs throughout history, influencing various aspects of modern spirituality and eschatology. This summary explores the Book of the Dead's prophecy of resurrection, tracing its influence from ancient Egypt to the modern era. The Book of the Dead, known to the ancient Egyptians as the Book of Coming Forth by Day, originated during the New Kingdom period, circa 1550 to 770 BCE. It evolved from earlier funerary texts, such as the pyramid texts and coffin texts, which date back to the Old and Middle Kingdoms respectively. These texts were inscribed on pyramid walls, coffins, and tombs, aiming to protect the deceased and guide them in the afterlife. The Book of the Dead consists of a series of spells, hymns, and prayers written on papyrus scrolls and placed in the tombs of the deceased. These texts were intended to help the dead navigate the challenges of the afterlife, pass judgment, and achieve resurrection and eternal life. The Book of the Dead is not a single standardized text, but a compilation of various spells and incantations. The number of spells varies, with some versions containing over 200. The text is divided into several sections, each addressing different aspects of the afterlife journey. Spells to protect the deceased from dangers and guide them through the underworld. Spells to grant the deceased the ability to transform and assume different forms. Spells to ensure a favorable judgment during the weighing of the heart ceremony. Spells to secure resurrection and a blissful existence in the afterlife. The concept of resurrection is central to the Book of the Dead and ancient Egyptian religion. The Egyptians believed in the possibility of life after death, where the deceased could be reborn into a new existence. This belief was rooted in the myth of Osiris, the god of the afterlife, who was resurrected after being murdered and dismembered by his brother Set. Osiris's resurrection symbolized the cycle of life, death, and rebirth, and served as a model for the deceased's journey. Osiris plays a pivotal role in the prophecy of resurrection. As the god of the afterlife, he presides over the judgment of the dead and grants them eternal life. The myth of Osiris, his death, and subsequent resurrection is a central theme in the Book of the Dead. The deceased are often referred to as Osiris, identifying with the god and hoping to emulate his resurrection. The Book of the Dead contains numerous spells and incantations designed to ensure the deceased's resurrection and eternal life. These spells focus on preserving the body, protecting the soul, and invoking the god's favor. Key spells include the opening of the mouth ritual, which ensures that the deceased can breathe, speak, and eat in the afterlife. The weighing of the heart ceremony, where the deceased's heart is weighed against the feather of Maat, the goddess of truth and justice. A favorable judgment leads to resurrection and eternal life. Spells for preserving the mummy and protecting the deceased's body from decay and harm. The concept of resurrection in the Book of the Dead had a significant influence on early Christian eschatology. The idea of bodily resurrection, as exemplified by Osiris, parallels the Christian belief in the resurrection of Jesus Christ and the promise of eternal life for believers. Early Christian texts, such as the New Testament, reflect themes of judgment, resurrection, and eternal life that are reminiscent of the Book of the Dead. Gnostic traditions, which emerged in the early centuries of the Common Era, also show the influence of Egyptian religious beliefs. Gnosticism emphasizes the soul's journey in the quest for spiritual knowledge, echoing the themes of the Book of the Dead. The Gnostic texts often describe the soul's ascent through various realms and the ultimate goal of reunification with the divine. Similar to the Egyptian concept of the afterlife journey, Islamic eschatology also incorporates elements reminiscent of the Book of the Dead. The Quran describes a day of judgment where the deeds of individuals are weighed and the righteous are granted eternal life in paradise. This echoes the weighing of the heart ceremony and the emphasis on moral integrity and justice found in the Book of the Dead. During the Renaissance and Enlightenment periods, European scholars rediscovered and studied Egyptian antiquities, including the Book of the Dead. The translation and interpretation of these texts provided new insights into ancient Egyptian beliefs and influenced contemporary thought on death and the afterlife. The themes of resurrection and the afterlife in the Book of the Dead inspired artists and writers during the Renaissance and Enlightenment periods. Works of art, literature, and philosophy from these eras reflect a fascination with Egyptian culture and its eschatological beliefs. The motif of resurrection, in particular, became a popular theme in various artistic and literary works. The modern field of Egyptology, which emerged in the 19th century, has greatly expanded our understanding of the Book of the Dead and its significance. Archaeological discoveries, such as the tomb of Tutankhamun, have provided valuable artifacts and texts that shed light on ancient Egyptian funerary practices and beliefs about resurrection. The themes of resurrection and the afterlife in the Book of the Dead continue to resonate in contemporary spirituality. New Age and esoteric traditions often draw on ancient Egyptian beliefs, incorporating concepts of spiritual transformation, reincarnation, and the eternal soul. The symbolism and rituals of the Book of the Dead inspire modern practices aimed at achieving spiritual enlightenment and transcending death. The Book of the Dead has also left its mark on popular culture and media. Films, novels, and television series often feature elements of Egyptian mythology.